Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Wise Words Wednesday, my weekly podcast series. It is so lovely to have you here. I am so grateful for you joining me. Now let me just introduce myself before I go any further for those of you who haven't met me before. I am Holly Charles. I'm a holistic healer, light worker, tarot reader, mystic and medium. I'm also a spiritual development coach and mentor. I'm also a mum. I am a lot of things, and I like to do these episodes just to bring a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of upliftment, hopefully, and some inspiration into people's days and lives. Now, my goal really is to inspire others to live happier, healthier and more spiritual lives, and to bring things that are mystical and spiritual out into the open, into the light of day, so people no longer have misconceptions about them, they no longer fear them, and to help people open up to their own spirituality and their own divinity and find the strength and empowerment that comes from that, and also the healing that can be triggered as well by living your life in a more conscious and spiritual way. And I've spent a lot of my life studying the esoteric and mystical arts. I've spent over 12 years in a psychic studies and spiritual development group, and that triggered a lot of healing within me, and it's changed my life. So I want to help people to connect with that, and to also help people who have got natural psychic abilities to feel like they are not alone, that they are understood, that they're not crazy. We all have an inherent and innate natural sensitivity to energies, because we are energetic beings having a physical experience, and each and every one of us are born with these psychic gifts, for want of a better word, and people fear them and repress them, and I want to help people to realise that they're normal and that it's nothing to be frightened of when you learn how to control it and you understand it. So anyway, enough about me. Now there are a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about. First of which is Mercury Retrograde. Now, this is the third time this year. We're coming towards the end of the year now. We're in December, and it's the third time this year that Mercury has gone retrograde, which basically means that it is not travelling. It doesn't appear to travel as it normally does in the sky. It looks as though it is going backwards. It's an optical illusion, but that's the way it is viewed by us here on Earth. Now, what that does is it sends all the energies that we're receiving from Mercury topsy-turvy. Now, Mercury rules communication. Now, I'm just going to say a few things that I've experienced during Mercury retrograde, and things that are likely to happen, that have been happening for a lot of people I know. And when I sort of say, oh, well, Mercury in retrograde and blah blah blah, people go, oh my god, that makes so much sense, and it explains why things have been happening, and people can lighten up and ease off themselves, not be so hard on themselves, and have a little bit more empathy for other people as well. Now, as I said, Mercury rules communication, so if we're not careful during times of retrograde, things we say can be misconstrued or misinterpreted, which can lead to arguments. Things are brought to the surface that need to be released emotionally, so it can be a gift in that it helps us cleanse what we no longer need. It can be good or bad depending on where you are emotionally and how strong you are at this particular time. We can often find ourselves thinking about past mistakes or heartaches or other things that have caused us distress. It's not uncommon to dream about ex-partners or even bump into them, as the universe throws up ways for us to pay attention to the things that we need to let go of. This also goes for other people from our past that perhaps have caused us emotional wounds, or have caused us, or we have caused them, things that are playing on our mind, that are playing on our conscience. It's a really bad time as well for technology. Everything breaks, mobile phones start glitching, so try not to buy any new tech at this time either, and back up all your work. And also, it's not a good time for signing contracts and making commitments either. Now, even if we manage to traverse this well, others around us may not. So be mindful of this and try not to rise to any arguments. Let things go a bit more unless you do want a bit more hassle in your life. And also have compassion when people are feeling emotional or irrational or quite snappy, because they're just being influenced by these energies that they're unaware of. So try and help them see how to move on from things. Try and help them see things from a more helpful perspective for them. Now, I've been having all sorts of crazy dreams about all sorts of things that need to be released from my life. And you know, it's sometimes things that we think that we've dealt with and we think that we've left behind and cleared from ourselves. It gives us a chance to wipe the slate clean and get rid of it all, particularly at the end of the year where, you know, we're in December now. We want to start the next year on a clean slate and on a strong, secure footing, you know, start as we mean to continue. So it's a really good time to do this reflective work, the self-work, to help clear what no longer serves us from our lives, to help maybe air things that need to be aired, but just remember to do so carefully if you don't want to argue with other people. This is more of a time of internal reflection rather than action on things externally. Now, following on from that, I would actually like to talk about negative emotions. Now, negative emotions are very important. Now, you know, some people are all about the good vibes, man, and you know, only good vibes here and all of that kind of stuff. And you know, I just want to say that no matter how much work you've done on yourself, there are always going to be things that trigger you to have negative emotions. That's one of the reasons we are here on this plane of existence, to experience life and all that that entails, both positive and negative. If we don't experience things that make us feel uncomfortable, we're not going to grow. We're not gonna know what we need to change, not only about ourselves, but perhaps the situations around us. Now, without negative emotions, everything is just wishy-washy and bland. And okay, no, not necessarily true. It might not necessarily be wishy-washy and bland. You might have a lovely, happy, exciting life, but without the negative emotions that come with those highs of happiness, you will never truly appreciate those highs of happiness without a comparison of what it could be like, and without without experiencing the lows, you can't truly have gratitude and appreciate the highs. Now, yes, as I said, feeling negative emotions is important for a number of reasons, okay? Now, it helps us to stand up for ourselves and others when things are unfair or unjust. You know, that's going to cause, in a lot of people, a negative emotional reaction when we see something going on that we don't agree with. And that can't be stopped. And it shouldn't be stopped either. That's how we look after each other and look after ourselves and show and demonstrate self-respect and a value of self-worth as well. Now, it also helps us to distinguish between people, places and things that are good or bad for our emotional, physical and spiritual well-being. It's like it's a gauge as to whether things are harmful or not. They help us to grow and evolve. They help us to heal and help us to become aware of the aspects of ourselves that we wish to release and we wish to improve upon. They help to give us an understanding of who we are, and when dealt with correctly, work out what it is within ourselves that we need to change in order for the trigger to lose its control over us. The old expression is so true that the only things that have an influence over you are the things that you allow to have an influence over you. Massively paraphrasing, the actual phrase is eluding me at the moment. It's, you can't, you give things power. So if you have a strong negative reaction to someone or something, it's because you are allowing that to happen. So, sit with it, feel it out, find out what is being triggered within you. If we dismiss them or choose to ignore them, then we run the risk of sending the negative emotion deeper into our energetic body and into our subconscious mind. Now, my background, as I've already said, is in holistic healing, and I've spent years and years studying this from various disciplines all over the world, particularly Ayurvedic medicine from India. And I know this is also true of Chinese medicine because I do reflexology, so I've done a lot of reading and research around Chinese medicine principles as well, and they will all say that if you do not release negative emotions, they will bury themselves deeper into your energetic body and they will absolutely manifest later on as a disease in the human body. It will manifest later on somewhere else, and this is often how a lot of illnesses and a lot of diseases that are going on today are caused. People are not expressing their emotions. It is very, very, very unhealthy not to feel any negative emotions if you live in society and if you live in the modern world. Okay, so perhaps if you lived in a temple on a beautiful, tranquil mountainside and you are working on self-mastery every day, meditating for hours and hours and hours on end, you may feel less likely to have negative emotions than people that are immersed in Western society, where the media is fueled by fear and there's just negativity around us all the time. But even if you are that monk on that mountainside, you are still gonna have things that trigger you, in order to work out what it is that you next need to work on to release. That's my opinion anyway. But our negative emotions are our allies. And as physical pain is a signal to our body that something is wrong and needs to be changed, so are our negative emotions. So sit with them, explore them, work out what is being threatened. Don't wallow in those emotions. Having an awareness of them is all you need to know what you need to work on. Work out what it is that you need to learn from the thing that's triggering you. But then you've got to decide, how am I going to take action? What have I got to learn, and how am I going to take action? Don't sit in that emotion, wallow in that emotion, and just allow it to churn up inside of you, because it is going to do you damage. You can lift yourself out of it in so many ways. Now, Christmas is coming, and for a lot of people, there are triggers everywhere for negative emotions at the moment. Now, yeah, of course, Christmas is a happy time, but for a lot of people, it's a very sad time. You know, missing people that are no longer with us in the physical world. You know, missing family members that maybe are still in the physical world, but you don't have any contact with, that you don't have a relationship with. It brings home a lot of pain for people. And it also, you know, it's very much like being in a crucible sometimes, where we're forced to spend time with our families, and our families are our biggest triggers for negativity oftentimes, because they know what buttons to push, but also they really get under our skin, and they know, well, even if they're doing it consciously or not, they are our biggest teachers, because they trigger the most amount of frustration, anger, pain and resentment within us. So it's a time that it's important to have self-awareness, and it's important to have that self-control and to know how to deal with negative emotions. So whatever those triggers may be, whether it may be aspects of society that really are kind of grinding on you, whether it's having to spend time with family or you're missing family, whether a lot of memories are being stirred up that are causing you pain, I'm going to give you some tips and some tricks to help you move through it, okay? So when you start to feel the negative emotions coming over you, keep coming back to deep, relaxing breaths. Through control of the breath, we can very significantly relax both our body and our mind. And when our mind is in that relaxed state, it is impossible to feel negative emotions. So when needs be, bring your focus back to your breath. The second thing that I think is really, really important here, and is important anyway, but particularly when dealing with negative emotions, is grounding, centering, clearing and protecting your energies. This is to protect you from the emotions of others, the energies of others, but also to keep your energies, well, grounded and not flying off into the ether and out into a place where your mind is spinning and whirring. By grounding and centering your energy, you're bringing your focus back down into your physical body and out of your spinning mind, if you like. And clearing your energy is very important too, because just by being around other people that are quite negative or quite emotionally volatile, we can pick up on that. Emotions are contagious, so clearing off other people's energies are very, very important. You know, the energy that we feel is not always necessarily our own. So, you know, it can be the emotions of other people around us, but also in some cases it can also be the energies of spiritual entities drawing close to us. And we can feel their energy. So it's important to, you know, if you're not aware of that, or if you're not aware of how to tap into that, then clearing your energies is just a really good, surefire way that, you know, all the emotions that you're actually feeling are your own. Now, relax your body whenever you can. Helps to relax your mind and your emotions. So, you know, just do relaxing practices, yoga, baths, going for walks if that's what you find relaxing. Just do anything like that, because as I said, you know, a relaxed mind and relaxed body, you can't allow those negative emotions in, okay? So if you're in a situation, we're on to number 4 now, I think. If you're in a situation that is causing you distress, if you're in a room with people that are really starting to get a rise out of you, that you can feel your blood boiling, or you can just feel yourself getting agitated, take a break, remove yourself from the situation. You know, if you can't go home, if you can't leave the situation, particularly on Christmas Day with family members, remove yourself from the room just for 5 minutes, just to go and do some breathing, just to go and start thinking about something else. Even if you just go sit on the bathroom floor for 5 minutes, just take yourself out of the situation. Number 5, change your thoughts. Think about something else. You know, think about something that uplifts you, that inspires you, that makes you smile, that makes you laugh. You know, whether that be going to watch some videos on YouTube that make you smile, whether that be browsing Pinterest for little memes that make you laugh, whether it's, you know, writing a gratitude list, anything that's going to shift your focus from the negative emotion that you're feeling to something positive and happy. Even doing something, you know, doing something silly, pulling funny faces, doing a little dance on the spot, anything that's going to completely shift your energy. Now, doing something physical like dancing or even yoga, it confuses your mind, because you start doing something that blocks the hormones that are causing the negative emotions to swim around your body, and your brain will go, wait, hang on a minute, but she's dancing, or she's singing, or she's doing something that is triggering relaxing hormones, it's triggering happy hormones. And it's amazing how quickly that can stop negativity in its tracks as well. Now, I believe we're on 6. I've lost count of where we are, but yoga is a huge one for me. Even if you're not a yogi, if you don't practice yoga, one of my favorite things is stop, drop, and forward fold. And just getting yourself into a forward fold position, it changes the energy flow around the body, it helps you to relax, and it helps you to focus on your breathing, and it just completely shifts everything. So if you can't find time to sit in and do a yoga sequence or a yoga routine, just stop, drop, and forward fold, and just for 5 deep breaths, stay in that position, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's like a miracle. It's just profound. So if you find yourself in that situation that you just need a quick fix, stop, drop, and forward fold. Now, number 7, I've already mentioned, is practice gratitude. So write gratitude lists. Number 8, practice forgiveness. This one is huge. Forgiveness for yourself, but also forgiveness of others. Forgive people even though you haven't received the apology that you've been waiting for. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve it. And forgive yourself if you're torturing yourself by thinking about things that you've done in the past. Let it go, because it's only poisoning your present. Learn from it, forgive yourself, and move on. Number 9 is practicing empathy. Now, this can be easier said than done, depending on who or what is triggering your response. But if you're sat with a family member and you can feel arguments brewing, or they've said something that's upset you, or that you've seen as harmful to you in some way, before you react, step back and try and see where they're coming from. They may be acting the way that they are because of things that have happened to them in the past, because of their pains, because of their insecurities, because of their programming that says everyone's against them, or their programming that says they have to act in a certain way to be loved or to be liked, or, you know, anything like that. So take a step back before you react and try and be empathetic, and that might completely change the situation as well. You may start to actually feel sorry for that person rather than being angry with them. Number 10 is practice self-love. If you practice self-love and you care for yourself, put yourself up on your priority list and do things to look after you, people are less likely to get a negative reaction out of you. They're less likely to harm you and upset you and get a rise out of you, because you value yourself more and you know you are deserving of more. Remember that each different person or situation that we encounter in our lives that is difficult is a potential teacher and an opportunity for our growth. So don't curse these negative experiences or these negative emotions you're having, but try and see what you can learn from it, how it can help you grow. And if you can't see it on the surface, sit in that space and stay with it for a while. Journal on it. Write it out. Write your emotions out. Write where your thoughts go. Just channel it all out. Pour it all out into paper, and it's amazing how much clarity you can find and how simple things can be that you actually do need to change or to evolve from and grow from. And ultimately it leads to a much happier, more fulfilling life once that shadow work has been done, the aspects of yourself that you don't like, or the traumas from your past that you're holding on to. Work through them and they will really help you profoundly grow. Now, it's always important to remember to ask your ancestors, angels and guides to help give you strength and peace and upliftment, to help you through these difficult times, to help you through these emotions. Ask them to help bring a clearing energy to diffuse tensions around family members. Ask them to bring an uplifting energy in to wash away things that may be fogging and clouding your mind that you can't seem to move past. Having the intention and asking them will really help you in ways that you can't even imagine. So yeah, that's all I've really got to say about that. I mean, I did a workshop on something similar to this back a few years ago, and I had like 30 points of things that you can do to help you through these winter months. So these are just a few of the most important ones that I think are almost like a first aid kit, a toolkit that you can use to help get you through this difficult time of year. So I hope that you found it helpful. Thank you so much if you're still listening. I really, really appreciate you coming by and listening. I would really like to connect with you on social media if we haven't already, and I would love to answer any questions or give you any help or advice in any way that I can. So come follow me on Instagram, which is the social media site that I normally hang out on the most. I would say it's at holistic_Holly. You can also find me on Facebook. It's hollysholistic.healing.co.uk. This episode and all other previous episodes are available to listen to on YouTube, and they are also available to download for free from my website, which is hollysholistic.healing.co.uk. So go and check that out. I think that's all from me for today. So yeah, once again, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining, and I hopefully will catch up with you soon. Love, light, and many blessings. Yakita. Namaste.